The peace convergence at Operation Talisman Sabre takes its message to the streets of Yeppoon. It's a classic seaside town and the nearest point on the map to the Shoalwater Bay training area of the Australian military.
It's possible!
A carefree afternoon at the beach is an Aussie birthright, but it's also a privilege. And the next stop for troops going through their paces a few miles north of here couldn't be more different. They're practicing to join the fight against the Taliban in Afghanistan. But the reason why thousands of American troops have come to the Queensland coast to join in is called interoperability.
Danger close to my position, over.
The live fire exercises, involving 50 combat aircraft and more than 1,500 armoured vehicles, amount to a rehearsal for future invasions of other countries alongside the United States. And they're taking place around Australia's world-renowned ecological treasure, the Great Barrier Reef. Those who've come to speak out against the military exercise include a local Aboriginal elder from the Darrumbal people, Jeanette Yao-Ye, and a prominent peace campaigner from the US, Judith LeBlanc, who's also a member of the indigenous Caddo tribe from Oklahoma. As we listen to the Yeppoon Peace Concert, I asked them for their reflections.
I think the big issue now is how we take the people's understanding of an immoral war that was launched by the Bush administration and translate that into political action to end the war in Afghanistan that the Obama administration is beginning to accelerate.
Well, it's a World Heritage Site. It doesn't matter how much they control the damage to the environment that they like to project that they do. The weapons that they use in these games are still going to damage the environment out in the sea and on the land as well.
Rockhampton Airport, a growing tourist hub, but also a key point in the military exercise. Protesters pass warplanes parked on the tarmac on their way to barricade the gates of the local barracks.
Whoa!
It's good-natured, even low-key. Then suddenly one braves the police lines in an attempt to infiltrate the base. He doesn't get far before being arrested. What's the point? A small breach of local laws and a signal that our consent to Australia's involvement in war crimes, like the invasion of Iraq, cannot be taken for granted. Aggressive warfare and the mass killing of civilians put the offence of trespassing into perspective.
To protest against Talisman Sabre and the increased militarisation of Australia and the ways of empire, which haven't been turned around yet, just because some prominent government members have got the rhetoric. The system's still in place, and the drivers to war are still there.
Put your left leg in, you put your left leg out.
Indeed, there's more than a hint of the absurd about the security arrangements. Police set up a cordon 5 kilometres from the base perimeter to stop us entering the ranges and causing live fire exercises to be suspended. Hence the hokey pokey. You can put your left leg in, even your whole self. But if you stop to shake it all about, instead of jumping straight back over the line, you'll be arrested. It does seem a bit rich for these protesters to be told by police that if they move across that line, they'll be committing an illegal act and therefore making themselves subject to arrest. When you consider that what's happening over there is preparations by the Australian Defence Force, alongside the Americans, for the invasion and occupation of another country. In other words, a premeditated war crime is under active preparation. You might think anyone concerned with law enforcement would be more focused on that illegality than this. Think your way onto the outside of militarism and there's no going back. Cooling off in the shade, I spoke to Ray, a veteran of the peace movement for half a century.
It just so happens that I joined like all my friends joined the army in 1940, 41, and of 7 that joined the army, 1 was killed, 1 we couldn't track down after the war, another one went mad, another one became a drunkard, and there were only 2 of the whole group of young people that I mixed with came back with any sense of being normal.
The Talisman Sabre exercise came as the Australian Navy was having difficulties in recruiting, hence these adverts showing the fun side of a forces career.
Which is not making the world a safer place.
The way the military is seen and thought of by society is important. The men and women of the Australian Defence Force do valuable work in peacekeeping operations, but preparing to fight in America's illegal wars has tarnished their image. If the protest draws attention to that, it will have done its job.
I think it shows that we are prepared to come here. We're prepared, some of us to be arrested, some of us just to stay here and demonstrate what we think with our banners and our placards, with our good humour, our not very good singing and our dancing, that we are on the side of life and hope and the future. And what is going on behind us in the Shoalwater Bay training area, which we can't reach, is about death and poverty and destruction and despair. And we are on the right side.
Australia's government is pressing ahead with more military spending, even though most Australians don't want it. Most of us never wanted to join the invasion of Iraq, and opinion polls suggest our part in the occupation of Afghanistan has lost majority public support. Mostly, those issues remain hidden. Here, they're out in the open.